Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Tuesday, November 18th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, Matt Robinson in the house, ready to break down the Tuesday NHL card. As you could probably tell by my voice, not feeling 100% today, sore throat, little cough, but hey, work must move on, and it's a big day. We've had this day planned for a few weeks now. The Betcast tonight. The Betcast goes on. The show goes on, folks. I'll be there, even though the voice is a little rough right now. We will be there, and we hope you'll be there tonight as well. 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time with our Ice Guys NHL Live Betcast here tonight. So again, DM or email me or Alex for a spot on the Betcast. We will send you the link for it before it begins. Looking forward to it. Very solid card on tap tonight. So a live Betcast tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll all be there. Perlo and company as well. Just tons of guests as well. So make sure you join us. Looking forward to the Betcast. Yeah, if Michael Jordan can do a flu game, I can have a flu day too and get through it. No doubt about that. No question. All right. Last night, of course, a little bit of a smaller card, obviously, on a Monday, although 6 games, a little more than we normally have on a Monday. Very entertaining Amazon Prime Monday night game. Montreal-Columbus, very back and forth type of game. And I thought I was going to get a comeback win with Montreal because I took a shot with them in that game. But the Jackets end up with a 4-3 shootout win. It was a really good game back and forth. A couple of really big saves. I thought Montreal was really starting to carry the play later in that game. And Jet Greaves came up with some really nice saves in that one to get the fourth, to allow Columbus to have the opportunity to win that game 4-3 in a shootout. I'll be honest, you guys can probably think I watched these games with the way I'm describing them. I didn't. Everything I'm telling you is what I watched on highlights this morning. I didn't watch any hockey last night. I had to catch up on sleep, make sure I was feeling good enough to be ready to go today. So I didn't watch any hockey last night. It was pretty much sleeping most of the evening, but I did see all the condensed game highlights of every game, and it looked like it was a very entertaining game. 4-3, Columbus getting the victory there in that one. No sweat at all with the over best bet on the show yesterday, Vancouver and Florida. That's now, here we go with these teams. We've talked about them. Multiple teams in this league this year have had consecutive game over streaks. The Islanders had one early in the year. Montreal had one that just got snapped. Toronto had one that just got snapped, even though they're actually still 13-1 to the over their last 14 games. And then now Vancouver. How about this? 9 straight, actually it's 10 straight now, overs for the Vancouver Canucks after that game last night. 8-5, back and forth. Ton of goals. I'll give Vancouver credit. You know, they got out to that 2-0 lead. Florida gets 5 unanswered. Canucks score the next 3 to tie it. 5-5. Canucks were a thorn in the Panther backside last night, but eventually the Panthers find a way. They close it out with Bennett, Jones, and then Marchand into the empty net for an 8-5 win. It's got to be concerning for Adam Foote right now that they've given up a lot of goals here of late. We've been seeing it. Obviously, they've had some issues at the back end. Missing Thatcher Demko is a big part of it, but definitely 8 goals is not going to sit well with the Canucks last night, giving that up. Carolina 3-1 against Boston last night. Low-scoring affair. Hurricanes, pretty good effort. You know, one of their better defensive efforts last night, considering all the defensive issues that they have had. So well done by the Hurricanes. Now you start to wonder. Boston, before their last 2 losses, were at first place in the Atlantic Division. Do we really think they're a first place team in the Atlantic Division? No, I think you're going to start probably to see a little slide now for the Bruins, and they've now lost 2 in a row. It doesn't help either that Charlie McAvoy's out. What did I tell you guys yesterday? I said I've just got this weird feeling and hunch about the Buffalo Sabres here. They just play well against Edmonton at home, and boy, did they ever do that again. Lindy Ruff calling it their most complete game of the season last night with that 5-1 victory over the Edmonton Oilers. And I have to agree, it was a really great performance. Colton Ellis, solid in net for the Sabres in victory last night, so well done there. I wish I had bet Washington. That's my one regret yesterday. I got off it because Lindgren was in net, and Lindgren played solid. And I just thought it was a good Washington spot. At home, days off. They had a couple losses in a row. LA feeling their oats with how well they had played on this road trip. And Capitals get a 2-1 win and another goal for the Great 8 Alex Ovechkin in that one. And how about Utah-Anaheim? What a finish here. 2-1 Utah. They take the lead in the third. They look like they're going to win the game, but the Anaheim Ducks, with just dying seconds of the third period, Troy Terry with the equalizer to tie it at 2, and then Olin Zellweger, the defenseman, with the overtime winner, and just a absolute soul-sucking loss for the Utah Mammoth, really, because you're up 2-1, and you end up tying it late. And then, of course, Zellweger gets the overtime winner, 3-2 Anaheim. I saw the live bet that Alex placed on the Anaheim Ducks, and someone giving him grief that, hey, they're not scoring, and coming back to bite him, a comment like that. And then so soft that he can't handle the you come at someone and criticize them, and you're wrong. You got to expect a clap back. Apparently, this guy, whoever he was on Twitter, is too soft, too pansy to handle it, and ends up blocking Alex. So ridiculous what you have to deal with sometimes on Twitter. But nice comeback win for Anaheim. Alex, your thoughts on Monday?
Yeah, it was a nice night. There's a couple of plays that went awry. That I regret bucking the trend with Buffalo of how well they play against Edmonton. I felt, okay, this is an Edmonton team at some point, get this offense rolling, and maybe this will be a back and forth kind of a game. No, it was one-sided Buffalo for sure. And if they could play Edmonton more often on the schedule, I'm sure they would be thrilled with that. But that's a good win for the Sabres. I wouldn't plan any parades necessarily, like some people in our chat were talking about last night, but a good win. And obviously that's kind of another tough loss for Edmonton. It was kind of funny hearing the comments late in the game, and it said the net was empty. Rob Ray says, well, net's been empty all night. What difference does that make? In reference to trolling with Stuart Skinner. And like I said, it's just been a disaster so far of a start for Edmonton. When you see this team just kind of coasting in the middle of the season, hovering, right in the middle of the division, I should say, this part of the season, it's not good. When you're talking about a team who their aspirations are winning the Stanley Cup, that it's win or bust. It's not even just get there. They've been there twice. You gotta win it all, and to see games like that for Edmonton, it's rough, and it doesn't seem to be, if you can't do that, you can't get a win and can't get a good energetic effort against a Buffalo team that has struggled. How are you supposed to do that against some of the teams that are in your own division, your own conference, that are playing better? And speaking of within the same division and conference, that Utah and Anaheim game was just absolutely fantastic. Back and forth battle. Like I said, it was not Anaheim's best game, but to see them hanging on, staying within the fight in the third period and getting that goal, 4 seconds left, Troy Terry, those are big wins. Once again, we talk about the growth of Anaheim. Anaheim loses that game 3-1, 4-1 last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. They don't hang around that game and battle back late and then get the win in overtime. You just don't see that. That's the effect of Quenneville. That's the effect of this team playing well and getting those gritty wins. That's an extra point that will loom large in April. If we're talking about this team being a point ahead of someone in the wild card standings or a point ahead of somebody in the Pacific, you can look back at a game like last night and look back at a win like last night and see, that was the reason. That was the difference maker. I talk about those 50 games. You win and lose 16. What you do with the other 50, that was a victory in the pile of 50 for Anaheim last night.
It was like I said, they hung in there. They're starting to learn that, hey, we have to be patient. If things aren't going our way, we can't just take unnecessary risks, be frivolous with our puck management. Those are the little things that help a young team get better. And I think they're starting to figure that out. And certainly the coaching of Joel Quenneville is helping them figure that out, because he took a young Chicago team and molded them, into the team and helped get them to that level where they're multiple Stanley Cup champions in that one. You're right. It was hard to muster offense, but they played a good defensive game. Like Utah only had 18 shots. It was a easier night for Lukáš Dostal in net. And that's what you want to see, especially because Dostal's been facing a lot of rubber lately. So to see them not give Utah nearly as much, it was a real solid effort defensively last night from that Anaheim team. Matty, Rob, what did your thoughts on last night?
Yeah, typical Monday. Didn't tune into every game or anything like that. I knew we had a decent card today with 8 games on the slate, and then obviously a Betcast tonight. So tried to take it a little lighter yesterday. Big miss for me was Boston, Carolina over. I felt that game had a really good shot at going over. Obviously, a slow start sort of hindered that one. So that was an unfortunate L, but I did have the over in that Canucks-Florida game, which, not a lot of paying attention to feel good about that one. So it was up and over very quickly without a lot of issue. 2-2 in the first, and then obviously 5-3 after 2. So no real sweat there, but obviously goals galore. And then a nice hit. I did tell you guys, I listened into some of the show yesterday. I was on Ducks money line. The price was, as solid as can be. They were kind of due for a bounce back game. As you mentioned, it was more of a sweat than I hoped for. 1-0 Ducks early on, but kind of stayed that way for a while. Then they dropped down 2-1, find a way to tie it late. I had honestly kind of given up on it when it was 2-1 with like maybe a minute left on the box score. I didn't have the game on. I was watching something else and just kind of looking at my phone. I go, oh shit, well, I guess that's an L. And they tie it up, and then I get a tweet update that is the OT goal, and I was like, I guess they did hit there. So nice little hit on that one. But yeah, not a lot out there yesterday, just given, that it was Monday. I had a long, big weekend, good positive weekend, but a lot of action this weekend. So Mondays I usually take it pretty chill. And then, with the lead up coming into today.
Almost like a hit the reset button day. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Watch a little Monday Night Football, but not have
great game last night. I'm glad I was sleeping through that thing. That's for sure.
yeah. But yeah. So overall, pretty good little Monday. No complaints, and looking forward to this Tuesday card for sure.
All right, indeed, and the Tuesday card, a Betcast Tuesday. We can't wait for that later tonight. But the Tuesday card begins with Seattle and Detroit. We've got Detroit minus 170, home favorites, 6 the total here, shaded to the under in this game. Joey Decord back tonight for the Seattle Kraken. So I know they'll be happy about that as they begin this road trip here in Detroit. The Red Wings, meanwhile, they're coming off a 2-1 win against the Rangers Sunday night. Big bounce back from them after just a hideous loss the last time they were at home, losing in overtime 5-4 to the Buffalo Sabres in that one. We'll see how this one plays out, but Seattle back-to-back wins to end the homestand against Winnipeg and San Jose, but still only 3-5 on the road entering this game. 6-3-1 for the Detroit Red Wings at home. One thing that caught my eye, and I don't have a strong opinion pregame. This is going to be something I look to live bet on our Betcast tonight. But 4 of the last 5 meetings here, Seattle versus Detroit, have gone past regulation. And we've seen a lot of close games, a lot of one-goal games, and pretty hard to turn down the draw when you see that kind of series history. So small draw bet, and everything I look at live will be in-game. Maybe the over live, we'll see. It's kind of weird because Detroit's been trending over at home. Seattle, I think, is going to want to play defense here on the road. That's the Lane Lambert way. And they obviously have their best goaltender back. So it kind of makes me think Seattle. I kind of want to bet Seattle under in this spot. I want to bet Detroit over in this spot. So that's why I'm kind of conflicted here with the total. Alex, what do you think here, Seattle, Detroit?
Yeah, well, you mentioned there's some serious draw history here with these two teams. For the last 5 meetings, definitely rolling with the draw. Grabbed that early this morning, plus 340. And I did a little sprinkle. I don't have many of these as often as I had the last couple of weeks. I've been taking it easy with the overtime game winners, mainly because there's not, a lot of teams I'm, looking to back in certain spots, or if I do, I'm grabbing, dog and draw usually. But in this case, I will take Sir Patrick Kane at 80-1 to get the game-winning goal for the Red Wings if this game goes OT.
All right, Matt, anything here, Seattle, Detroit?
Honestly, I think this, and I hate to do it on the first game of the night, but I think it's a pass game for me. Pre-game, as always, should mention with the Betcast, any bet that I have is probably a little lighter than normal. And, there are a lot of looks here that I'll be looking to get something live because of, we'll all be watching together. So, but honestly, pregame, I think this, I kind of go both ways with you, Ian. I could see Seattle winning this and it going under. I could see Detroit winning this, 5-2, so I just don't have a feel. I kind of want to see some pace in this game before putting anything in live. So for me, this is a pass game, pregame.
Yeah, for those who haven't joined us during a Betcast night, of course, like I said, we tend to play a little bit of our pregame stuff lighter, or we kind of will have setups, especially for me, where I'll play something small pregame and then add on live, especially when I'm talking about first period totals. In fact, all but one of my totals plays will be in game tonight. Everything else is that's pregame will be just sides and draw bets, basically. So. Like I said, that's something that we kind of do and differentiate from when we have a Betcast night, planning to make more live wagers than usual.
Good stuff. All right, next up as we continue along here, we've got New Jersey and Tampa Bay. The Lightning, minus 170 home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this game. Not totally shocked that the New Jersey Devils beat Washington on Saturday. It's crazy how often these teams, when they lose a big-time player, and obviously, I'm talking about Jack Hughes with the freak accident, with the slicing off his hand, or part of it, and getting the injury there that's going to keep him out for a period of time. Often you step up that first game without one of your big players, and they did that against the Washington Capitals, New Jersey. Now, tonight, I think it's a little different. They get that first win without Jack Hughes. Now, it might be a little more difficult here against a Tampa Bay team that's obviously not going to be in the best of moods, losing 6-2 to the Vancouver Canucks on Sunday. It was not a pretty afternoon for Jonas Johansson. This is actually a guy that's played pretty solid. I think he's been better than he's been in recent years, but not so much on Sunday. 5 goals allowed on 17 shots. So it was a rough game for him there last Sunday for him in net for Tampa. Obviously, we should see Vasilevsky back. He is confirmed. Still some injuries, excuse me, and that's been the big issue for Tampa. Now, it looks like Hagel is going to play tonight, so they'll have him back, but Victor Edmond is still day-to-day, and obviously McDonough and Paul are still out. And there are injuries for New Jersey. Obviously, Jack Hughes is the big one. Don't forget everybody else. It's a lengthening and more troubling injury list right now for New Jersey. Cody Glass repair, Cody Glass replace. He's out. Brendan Dillon's day-to-day on the blue line. Dougie Hamilton is day-to-day on the blue line for New Jersey right now as well. A lot of injuries for this team. So I like Tampa puck line first period here. I think they might jump on the Devils early coming off that loss. You're going to get plus money with Tampa minus 0.5. I'll jump in on that a little bit. Obviously, I don't like the pregame price minus 170 with Tampa Bay. And the reason I don't like Tampa regulation is because I think this still could be one of those games where maybe Tampa gets the lead in the first period, but New Jersey battles back, and you got to ride this draw streak that is New Jersey right now. You just have to. It's 6 straight games that they have gone past regulation. That's pretty incredible entering this game. 5 straight. I apologize. 5 straight games. It's still remarkable. 5 straight Devils games have gone past regulation. All of them obviously decided by 1 goal. Got to ride it at this point. So a little bit on the Lightning first period puck line. The team total I lean with too for Tampa, but I like just have to ride the draw. It's really that simple. When a team's gone 5 straight games beyond regulation, that's a draw bet for me. And there's nothing else I need to see. What do you think here, Alex? New Jersey, Tampa Bay.
The New Jersey draws. Give me them and go past regulation again. Plus 340 with the price that I grabbed.
Yep, no doubt. Matt, what do you think here? Devils, Lightning.
Yeah, I'm going to take a shot small because I think I'll try and add to it live if we can get a couple minutes with no goals. But I think I'm going to jump on a first period over here. It's not confirmed yet, but if Markstrom's in, I double down on your thoughts of Tampa maybe jumping out to a quick 2-goal lead, 1-goal lead at least. New Jersey's obviously banged up, but it's not like Tampa's been as stout as maybe they have been in the past. They've got injuries lined up as well. So whether it's 1-1, 2-1, 2-0, doesn't matter. I just need 2 in the first. So I think I'll ride a first period over here, just given how Tampa lost their last game. New Jersey still was able to get it done, but I do think Tampa comes out. I honestly would be open to taking a Tampa Bay over 1.5 first period, probably at a much better price, but I'll just keep it simple. I think it's like minus 125, minus 130. So I'll put a little bit now, and then on the Betcast, maybe double down once we get to plus money if we don't get a goal in the first few minutes.
The great news about injuries for a team, a lot of injuries, is that you get so much value with player props. Players playing up the lineup when normally they would not. And for New Jersey, Gritchik, we've talked about him. He's still on the top line value there. Dawson Mercer, second line. How about Nathan Legare? This guy has been predominantly in the American League. He's going to be on the second line for New Jersey tonight. So definitely some value with him. Again, Dougie Hamilton and Brendan Dillon are both at the moment questionable for tonight. Game time decisions day to day, which means more ice time for Luke Hughes and Simone Nemec. So if you're looking at defenseman props, you definitely have to look toward Nemec and you have to look toward Luke Hughes. Luke Hughes, by the way, is on a 3-game point streak, and he did score for the Devils against Washington. So Luke Hughes goal, Luke Hughes assist. I like it. Simone Nemec, you could look in the same direction with his props. I think he's going to be more involved, from the blue line, especially if Dougie Hamilton's out, in addition to Brendan Dillon, because then you need another puck mover back there. Dougie Hamilton's one of your better puck movers, and that's where your Luke Hughes and your Simone Nemec of the world can come in and take up those minutes. So those are definitely some value on the New Jersey side. And then for Tampa Bay, Hagel, as Jonathan Davis alludes to, done huge damage in the past against New Jersey. I'll throw out Gage Gonsalves right now for Tampa Bay. He's slated to play with Point and Kucherov tonight on the top line for Tampa Bay. So I think Gage Gonsalves, there's some pretty good prop value with him tonight in this game. All right, St. Louis and Toronto. We've got pretty much even money here, -110 both sides. Leafs slightly favored, -115 in some spots, 5.5, 6 the total in this game. Bumper stumpers bet of the night. I'm not out till I lose 2. Toronto, 13 straight overs. The streak got snapped in their 3-2 loss to Chicago on Saturday night, but they're still 13-1 to the over in their last 14 games. And as I said, we're not out until we lose 2 in a row with a certain trend or streak that we have been riding. And I like the bifecta here because Toronto is suddenly 8-2 to the first period over in their last 10 games. And that Chicago game, which stayed under for the full game, still went over in the first period. Now, I know Brad Treliving had his press conference, the State of the Union, if you will. Now, this was not, whoa, we got to put out the fires because Toronto's struggling and we need to get out in front of it to the media. This was planned from the beginning of the season. He always does a quarter of the season press conference, media availability. That's what this was for Treliving. But he basically said the same bunch of nonsense and jargon that you expected. We need to get better. We have not played to the level we expected. We need to get better defensively. We need contributions more up and down the lineup. I believe in Craig Berube and the message that he's sending to our hockey team, yada, yada, yada. Basically said all that BS. And that's not BS, but it's just, word salad. That's what GMs say when their team's struggling. And they're not ready to make a change just yet. So from that standpoint, we'll see. I mean, they've talked about better defense for weeks, and I haven't seen it consistently from the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's not going to get any better to play good defense because, and this goes back to our good old friend, our original member of the Ice Guys show, Dana Lane, years ago, and of course, Wizard Sports Picks with all of us. He always said on this show, when you're putting new forwards and new faces and new defensemen in the lineup constantly, that's when the chaos happens. That's when the breakdowns happen. That's when the defensive miscues and screw-ups increase. And that's what we're seeing right now with the Leafs. So tonight, it's another musical chairs on the blue line. Dakota Mermis in. Troy Stetcher just picked up off the scrap heap. He comes in. He's going to be on the blue line tonight. Forwards, they're shaking it up. I mean, they got a guy that's never played a game, I think, in the NHL, maybe one. And he's your third-line center tonight, Jacob Quillen, up from the Toronto Marlies. I mean, that's just speaks to what's going on. They got 3 centers out. Scott Lawton, the captain, Austin Matthews, and now Nick Waugh is also out. And Nick Waugh has not done a lot offensively. He's pretty sturdy defensively as a depth center. So your defense gets hurt again because of the absence, in my opinion, of Nick Waugh here tonight and potentially for a few games moving forward. Joe Wolin net. Now, he's a St. Louis guy. So I'm sure he grew up cheering for the Blues. It'll be big to play against them. But, boy, he's going to have one hell of a task in front of him right now with new faces again in the forward group, the blue line, communications going to be a big concern here. So, like I said, I got concerns for Toronto at the defensive end. But at the same point in time, I can't say I'm in love with backing St. Louis. They're struggling. They can't get out of their own way. They can't get on any sort of roll right now. So for this game, this is another one where I'm going to sprinkle on the draw a little bit here with the Blues and Leafs. West versus East wouldn't shock me if this goes to overtime. So draw pregame, and yes, over by Fecta pregame, over 1.5. Shop first period and shop around. There are still some 5.5s out there with the full game total. So, and by the way, 8 of the last 10 meetings, I went and looked, Blues versus Leafs, 8 of the last 10 have had at least 6 goals. So if you can find that 5.5, that's significant. And there are still 5.5s out there. So drawn over by Fecta. For me, Alex, what do you think here? St. Louis, Toronto.
So it's one of those games where I played small first period over, but we'll be looking to add on more as this crosses over the plus money territory. We're on the Betcast tonight. Same thing with the full game. I'm waiting for a 5.5 at a cheaper price, hopefully around $1.20, $1.15, even $1.10 to jump in with that. I don't have the draw on this one. Now, this is one, of course, since we're on the Betcast, I can always add it in game, but this one did not make my draw criteria. There's four draw plays I like pregame. This wasn't one.
All right, good stuff there. As far as props go, Nick Robertson, he did score against Chicago. He's on the top line. He's worth a bet with Tavares and Nylander. And, he's getting a lot because of necessity and all the injuries. He's getting tons of opportunities. So Nick Robertson with Tavares and Nylander, I think, is good. We talked about Bobby McMahon. That's worth a shot, too. I'm going back to the well with our guy, Holloway. Dylan Holloway's heating up. It took a while, slow start to his season, but suddenly he scored goals in 3 of the last 4 games.
And he's on the top line.
And on the top line. So, yeah, Dylan Holloway for sure. Not going to miss betting him to score a goal tonight. Matt, what do you think here? Blues, Leafs.
So this was this total I did jump in on at 5.5 yesterday. This was one on my card I had circled as something I liked. This series is 8-2 in their last 10 to at least 6 goals. Obviously, 2 worst teams in the league defensively in regards to goals per game given up. So that's obviously an over factor when you get 2 of those
they're
teams.
The 2 worst? I knew they were down there. They're the absolute 2 worst? Wow.
It was 30. Let me double check. As of yesterday, it was 31-32.
No, I'm not saying you're wrong. You might be right. I'm just, wow.
Yeah.
They were down there. I didn't know they were dead last, both of them. Wow.
Yeah, Toronto's averaging 3.79 against per game. St. Louis 3.84 for 31 and 32nd. So that right there screams over for me, especially given Toronto's still top 5 in goals per game as far as scoring goes. So I think both teams are struggling. I mentioned it in my Beyond the Lines episode, but Chris Tanev's a guy that Toronto really misses back on their blue line. He's arguably
one of the all started.
Yeah. He's one of the top defensive defensemen in the league. He's one of the few, true kind of shutdown guys in today's game. With the McCarrs and the Quinn Hughes of the world. He's just, he's great having back there. He blocks a lot of shots. He, is a big presence. So they miss him. I think this is an over game. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on the first period over. So technically it is an over by Fecta. I'm on pretty big on the full game over. And then I'll look to get something live if we do get plus money, if there's no goals early in this one. But biggest play here for me is definitely the over 5.5. I think getting to 6 is something we see tonight.
Yeah, I was definitely a little perplexed. This total was 5.5 in some spots, but regardless, we'll try to take advantage of it. That's for sure. All right, props. I mentioned them already, so we can move on. All right, next up, Parayko. By the way, I'm seeing it from Jonathan Davis, and he's had a good read on this player versus goalie history when a player has success scoring against a particular netminder. And he says that Colton Parayko, defenseman for the Blues, has scored 2 goals in 2 games against Joe Woll in the past. So, plus 900 if you want to dabble in that. So, yeah, pretty good find there if you believe in the big defenseman who was almost a member of Toronto. I know the Leafs have been considering trading for Parayko for a few years now. So, but yeah, definitely maybe something to consider there. Columbus and Winnipeg. Winnipeg minus 180, home favorites, 6.5 the total here in this game. Jets, I don't know if this is a good spot for either of these teams, quite honestly, because you have Columbus on a back-to-back after the win against Montreal last night, flying in late to Winnipeg. That's definitely not a good spot for them. But Winnipeg's coming off a pretty long road trip themselves, 6 games, first game home. That's not an easy spot. Just ask Anaheim. I didn't think Anaheim was great last night. They looked a little lethargic, lacking energy, but in that game, but they found a way to gut it out and win that game. I think this one's a little bit different here, where both teams, are in kind of a dubious spots here in this one. This one I had to be repetitive. This didn't plan it this way for me to have a piece of the draw in the first 4 games on the board, but you had to sprinkle on it because the Jackets are 4 of their last 5 to the draw. This one I don't like nearly as much, though, because I do worry about the fact that maybe on the back-to-back, the Jets are going to be able to win this thing by margin. But when you see a team that's gone past regulation 4 or 5, something that, you want to take some kind of small piece of the draw here in this game. Winnipeg back home where they're 5-3. The series history with these two teams, Jets have beaten them 3 of the last 4. No question. Merzlikins is who we should see in net tonight, with this being the back-to-back for Columbus. It's not going to be actually, I don't think it's going to be Connor Hellebuck. It looks like Scott Arneal's thinking of rocking with Eric Comrie here tonight in net for the Winnipeg Jets. Now, I do want to say one thing about Comrie before we all get, in that mindset of just automatically maybe, betting on Columbus or whatever, because you see Comrie's name. His numbers are actually pretty good so far this season. The Jets are 3-1 in his 4 starts. He has a 2.75 goals against, 908 save percentage. So pretty good numbers when you look at it here for Eric Comrie. So this is definitely going to be a Betcast game as far as side or total. See how it starts and go from there. But I will sprinkle on the draw pregame. Again, 4 or 5 for the Jackets have gone past regulation entering this game tonight. Alex, what do you think here? Columbus, Winnipeg.
Yeah, plus 360. This is the best price I found available for this draw. But like I said, I'm right there with you. Grab draw pregame, and we'll be looking for stuff live in this one.
All right. Maddie, anything here? Jackets, Jets.
Nothing for me pregame. This will be a game that I do want to check out live, but nothing for me pregame here.
All right, there we go. As far as props in this game tonight, just Marchenko continues to be ridiculously, on this point streak that he's on. 12 games, 12 straight with a point. Morrissey's on a 5-game point streak for the Jets. Werenski, 3-game point streak. So you got a lot of players in good form. Voronkov and Scheifele have scored in back-to-back games here for their respective teams. We'll see if that streak continues a little bit into this game tonight. So just a little mention of that as far as the Jackets and the Jets. A lot of players that are either on point or goal streaks. And I mentioned Shinikov. He didn't score last night, but if he remains on the second line, actually no, looks like he may not play tonight. Maybe that's a message being sent from Dean Evison, but looks like Shinikov may be a healthy scratch tonight here for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So scratch that. All right, next up as we continue along here, we've got the New York Islanders and the Dallas Stars. Dallas here -1. It looks like -170 home favorites. The total here 6 across the board in this one. These are the spots I worry about Dallas sometimes when they're playing good, they're feeling good, and then they play an Eastern team coming in, and that's sometimes when they stub their toe. I don't know if that'll be tonight, and there is big news on the horizon here for Dallas. The captain, Jamie Benn, returning here for the Stars tonight. Obviously been out for a significant period of time. Happy to have him back for sure. And not a moment too soon, because you still got other injuries that you've had to deal with. Duchesne's still out, and multiple defensemen out. Lyubushkin, and of course the big one being Thomas Harley, who's going to be out for a period of time for the Dallas Stars. Meanwhile, you've got the Islanders coming in off the loss to Colorado. Like I said, the road trip fatigue and the 3 and 4 nights going from Vegas to Utah to Denver. I think it kind of showed up again for the New York Islanders in that last game. David Riddick is in net. That's confirmed. So in a game where because I like the way Sorokin's playing. I was not initially interested in an over with Sorokin being the guy in net, because he's played a lot better the last few games. Really solid in net for the Islanders. But David Riddick, it's a bit of a different story. Now that he's confirmed as the starter, I think this could be a game where that full game over. I'm a lot more interested in it here in this game. This is one we talk about the Islanders going back to last year, overtimes, but this is one draw that has not made my card, because I get the sense too that with Riddick now in net, and Dallas maybe with a little bit of excitement, enthusiasm for the return of Jamie Benn, that maybe this won't be one of those 1-goal games in the final minute or final 5-10 minutes of the game. So I'm going to look at an over here, and that's really it. Nothing other than that, side or total, unless on the Betcast I see something I want to jump in with live here in this game. Alex, what do you think here? Islanders, Stars.
Yeah, 3 of the last 4 Islander games. 3 of the last 5 of these meetings have gone past regulation. 3 of the last 4 Islander games have gone past regulation. So I did take a small stab at plus 340. This is not one of my favorite draw plays. And also with that, I did grab for the overtime goal scorer, Mikko Rantanen at 55-1.
So Alex did take the draw. I really thought long and hard about it. I really did. And I still might like I said, I will be watching this game on the Betcast tonight.
It's one that was on the cut for me too. If I could wait and grab it in game if I like it, but then I was like 340. I'm like I grabbed a little piece of it. Like I said, it's at the bottom of my draw list.
Yeah, no doubt. Should be interesting. And like I said, with Dallas is like I said, they played a nice little run. They've had a nice little run here, and we will see if that can continue tonight. Good game this is, because Stars are playing well, and the Islanders have played good hockey for the most part here in the last week or so. Matt, what do you think here? Isles, Stars.
Yeah, I do like the over in this one. I also am going to take a small shot on the first period over pregame. I honestly consider doing like a Matty same game parlay on this one pregame, just small, just in case we get a quick goal. The reason I like the first period over, I mean, Dallas is kind of rolling right now, and that they just typically, I know it hasn't necessarily been the case in this 3-game run, but it's pretty common for them to give up a goal at home early in a game. Saturday nights, a little different atmosphere in there, especially on a college football Saturday. So they were able to come out and kind of dominate get out of the first 1-0 last home game. But Tuesday nights, for whatever reason, it feels like anytime I watch their games on a Tuesday night, they give one up early, and then they're usually battling back, scoring, and trying to even it up before the end of the period. So I think we get 2 goals in the first here. I think we get to 6 goals total. I could see a 3-3 overtime. I could see, a 5-2 win on either side. So I think it does a little bit help Dallas's case having Riddick confirmed. I think I'd feel a little bit more weary if Sorokin was in net, but Ottinger obviously was off to a pretty slow start. He has tightened things up as of late. So I think I lean Dallas. It's not worth minus 170 for me. You could take a look at a team total, but I think I'm going to keep it simple and just be on first period and full game. And then I do have a couple props on this game, one of which I'll mention a little bit later in the show.
Would you consider maybe looking at Islanders first goal, first period, plus 155, and then jumping on grabbing Dallas live?
Matty Rob's been betting Dallas live a lot lately, by the way.
I actually, if the Islanders go up 2-0 in this game, it's an automatic bet Dallas money line, because it's just been it's hit like 5 times in a row. So until that stops. But no, Alex, I do think that is a good look. The only thing that worries me about that angle is the Jamie Benn piece, him coming back, your captain's back, maybe they come off to a hot start and then, you end up losing out on that. So that would be my only hesitation with that one, but I do like that look a lot of times.
So more of a maybe both teams to score first period and then look for a better period over.
Yeah. Both teams to score first period. I think I could get behind for sure.
Okay.
There we go. Good stuff. So Jamie Benn back in the lineup. It'll be fun to see that. See how it plays out. Looks like tonight they've got him with they're going to ease him back. I'm seeing that he's listed with Foxa and Blackwell, so it's just a nice ease him back in. We don't need to throw him up and give him a ton of minutes right off the hop. So I get what Glenn Gulletson is going for with that. So something to keep an eye on there with that. And then as far as props, do I even need to say it with who from the New York Islanders anymore? Emil Heineman. Do I even need to say it? I'm going to be betting him to score a goal, 3 straight with a goal, still in the bargain bin price range. I'll tell it right now. He's one of my 2 bargain bins tonight again, Emil Heineman. I'll just say it right now. Don't even need to wait for the segment. He's one of my 2 bargain bin specials once again, Emil Heineman. And someone to keep an eye on. I'm trying to get confirmation if he goes to the top line, but I'm seeing there's a potential he does for the New York Islanders tonight, and that is Maxim Shabanov. This is a guy that's been replaced Siplikov in the lineup. There's a chance that Patrick Waugh might test him out at least in the top 6, if not the top line tonight. So if that's the case, Maxim Shabanov might be worth a shot for the Islanders, but definitely Emil Heineman, goes without saying. 3 straight games with a goal, and also, as Jonathan alluded to, 3 straight games where he scored the first goal of the game as well. He has the first goal of the game in 3 straight as well. So that
maybe
is
first
just
team
a little
goal.
sprinkle. I mean, yeah,
first team goal and first goal game.
Yeah, worth a sprinkle too, along with just the regular plus 340, plus 350 for him to just score a goal, period, in this one. All right, next up, we've got Calgary and Chicago. These teams played at the Saddle Dome just recently. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and that was a 4-0 shutout for the Chicago Blackhawks in that game. We got Calgary minus 120, road favorites. 5.5, 6 the total in this game. I swear, as soon as it looks like Arvid Soderblom is going to start in net, and it looks like that's going to be the case here tonight for Chicago, it's like people bet against Chicago because that's when this line moved. It did. Chicago was minus 110, and now all of a sudden, money's come in on the Flames here, minus 120, road favorites. No confidence in Arvid Soderblom. Now, look, there's a lot more variance when it comes to Arvid Soderblom compared to Spencer Knight. Most of the time, he's going to give you a solid effort, rock solid, give you a chance. Fewer bad goals given up. But let's not forget the last couple of starts for Soderblom. St. Louis was a good one. Seattle, was pretty solid. And the last game against Detroit, the last time we saw him, it was a gem. This is an unbelievable performance. 1 goal, 46 saves, 45 saves on 46 shots for Arvid Soderblom against Detroit on that afternoon game. At the end of that last Detroit road trip. Actually, it was right after they beat Calgary. They played Detroit on the road, Chicago, and that's when Soderblom had that unbelievable performance against the Red Wings. So he's coming off one of the great efforts I've ever seen out of the guy in between the pipes. I like Perlo's prop. It has been a good prop. The Chicago goalie, whoever it is, over saves. Definitely makes some sense to look in that direction. I'm still going to take Chicago here, plus 100. Don't love it as much, obviously, with Soderblom compared to if Knight had started, but what business does Calgary have laying a price on the road right now? It's kind of head scratching to me. They can't score. They obviously have 2 wins all year on the road, which is absolutely pitiful. And like I said, this team's just got 2-9. They are on the road, and they're road favorites here. I get it. People don't love Arvid Soderblom. I get it. But boy, oh boy, that's a little much putting Calgary out there as a road favorite. So, yeah, I'm going to take again, not a big bet, but I'm going to take something here on Chicago, plus 100. Alex, what do you think here? Flames, Blackhawks.
Once we saw Knight start against Toronto the other night, I knew we were going to see Soderblom at some point, and it made sense to have him get this game. I thought, okay, well, he has good numbers against Toronto. Doesn't really, he played once against Calgary, and it was a decent game. They ended up losing it. But like I said, this is a great spot. And the fact that you have people automatically betting against the Hawks when Soderblom's in net now, not realizing the progressions he's made. We get good value here. So I waited, grabbed plus 100. I have 2 bargain bins from this game. One of them, you can probably guess what it is. It's an old standby favorite. But the second one is a spot I like at a good price. But they're both Chicago related. But I think this is going to be a good game for the Hawks. And like I said, get that momentum rolling, get the offense rolling. This needs to be a big offensive game. I'm not going to bet Hawks team total, but they need to cash the team total. They need to get over 3.5, get 4 or 5 goals against Calgary tonight. And they need a dominant win at home. And I think they can do that. And I think they can do that even with Soderblom in that. So give me the Hawks here on the money line, and I have 2 bargain bins I'll talk about later.
They do have injuries, Doug. Good point, Chicago. But it's Dickinson, the trooper. He's been out for a while. It's Nick Foligno. Yeah, they miss his leadership and great presence on the bench, keeps the boys going. But they can win games without him, at least for a little bit. And then the other one is Bertuzzi, and even he still might play tonight. He's a game-time decision for the Blackhawks.
I think Bertuzzi more than likely will end up being out from what I was seeing. Okay. We've also had a sighting in practice of a gentleman named Laurent Brossoit wearing pads.
I couldn't believe it. I didn't know he was still alive. That guy.
He's still alive. seemingly out of witness protection program, could be making some starts in Rockford at some point. And now it begs the question of, well, what the hell do you do with him? It's sort of playing well. Took you long enough, waited a year and a half for you to finally arrive, and now maybe he's a trade piece at this point. Maybe he just stays in Rockford for a while. It gives you flexibility, but he is working out and practicing, and we could be seeing him make some kind of roster move centric to being either Rockford or even Chicago at some point down the line.
Really does feel like he's been in witness protection program for a year and a half, because we haven't even really seen him, around the team, around the rink at all. And now all of a sudden we saw that video footage yesterday. There he is out on the ice, loosening up and taking some pucks there. So pretty crazy. Hey, when they first got him, Alex and I are thinking this guy could be starting your number one goalie for a bit for the Chicago Blackhawks, and obviously that wasn't the case. He just disappeared in the thin air.
The first picture of him actually wearing a Hawks jersey was yesterday at practice.
Yeah,
they
signed him before the last off season. Yeah.
So it's wild.
Yeah, pretty crazy, but he is alive, which is good to see. Maddie, what do you think here, Calgary, Chicago?
Yeah, I'm on Chicago. I actually was on it before it moved to plus money, so I might need to cash that out and get a better price, because I don't understand the line move. I mean, I know Chicago is not the number one team in the NHL by any stretch yet, but they are playing a lot better hockey. They're top 10 in goals for, they're top 10 in goals against, and Calgary is coming on the road as the worst offense in the league. And I know they've had games that they've played okay, and then they've had games that they just look like an ECHL team playing in the NHL. I just don't see how Chicago is plus money at home in this one. It's not often that I feel that things are backwards, but to me, if Chicago was minus 120 and Calgary was plus 100, I'd probably still be on Chicago money line. So this one just feels like one where they've got it backwards. I could see an over here, even though Calgary is the worst offense in the league, given, Alex's point that Chicago needs kind of a dominant win. I don't think, Calgary gets shut out in this spot necessarily. I mean, it could happen, but I don't feel that way. So if they get one or two, Chicago gets 3, 4, 5, somewhere in that range, we're looking pretty good for the over. So I could make a case for that, but I think pregame, I'm just going to be on Chicago plus 100. And then during the game, I might look at a live first period or full game over, just depending on pace and things like that.
This could definitely be, back in the day, I would have called this a hobby bullet in reference to Nikolai hobby bullet, where the Hawks end up getting a win 5-1. And it'll probably be where Soderblom's looking at a shutout with about 8 or 9 minutes left, and then he gives up that one soft-ass goal. Nikolai hobby bullet did this consistently as a Hawk. It definitely feels like it could be one of those games. So
it happened to Pyotr Kochetkov last night for Carolina, and it cost poor Jimmy Murphy, our good buddy, a shutout thing.
A 10-1 on it. Yeah, that sucks. But it definitely feels like it could be one of those games where, Calgary, if they are getting blown out, then they get their offensive line late, and this one just slips over that total.
No doubt. Looking forward to it. This is what I call the Rick Ball Invitational here, the Flames and the Blackhawks. The former Flame broadcaster, now with the Blackhawks, of course. I still see Flame fans moaning and groaning about how they miss him. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. All right, next up, we've got, here we go. Oh, by the way, prop for that game. Couple. Coronado for Calgary. And then take your pick with Chicago, but there's because it seems like it's someone different. I mean, Ryan Green, we'll see if that gets him going. It was your bargain bin the other night, Alex, and he is playing on that top 6 forward group for them. Burakovsky, might be worth a look. Teravainen, Frankie Nazar's never a bad option. Bedard's been feeling it for weeks. So share the wealth when you bet Chicago props, because it could be someone different, on a nightly basis. All right, New York Rangers and Vegas Golden Knights. We have Vegas minus 130, home favorites. Total here sitting at, looks like 6 at most spots, 5.5 at others. But again, shop around. If you like the under, get a 6. If you like the over, get a 5. I like the over, but I like the first period over, as you guys know. It's first period over. I don't even screw around with the full game overs now with Vegas, because those are hit or miss. One thing we do know is consistently this team continues to have first period overs cashing in. It happened with the Islanders taking on the Golden Knights at the end of the homestand for Vegas. It happened Saturday when they went to St. Louis. The game went over in the first. Same thing with Vegas, Minnesota. That game went over in the first period. Excuse me, in that game as well. So again, just almost like a ATM machine with Vegas first period over. So I definitely like that. Here's what I would tell you about the side. I took an early number and price with the Rangers in this game, and I got it at plus 125. Plus 125 is long gone. It's down to plus 115, plus 110 right now. But the Rangers have been good on the road. They beat Vegas twice, swept the season series last year. The Rangers did. So I like that initial price and number at plus 125. Vegas has to prove it to me, that they can win at home. I mean, people have been waiting on them to step up at home. People thought Anaheim was the spot to step up at home and win a home game and stop the home losing at T-Mobile. Didn't happen. They lost 4-3 in overtime. They lost to Florida 3-2. People thought for sure the Islanders spot, minus 180 favorites. That was going to be their shot to finally win at home. And they lost that game as well, 4-3 in overtime to the Islanders. It's a prove it business. Prove it, Vegas. Win a home game, for crying out loud, before I back you, especially as a favorite. So I got in at the Rangers at the opener, plus 125. Prices dwindled here, but obviously, I still lean that way. It's just I hate getting 15, 20 cents worse, which it is right now. And first period over for me here. Alex, what do you think? Rangers, Golden Knights.
I grabbed a small piece of first period over, 1.5 at minus 125 over at Caesars. Anything higher, I'd say wait and grab it, especially with the Betcast. I'll be adding more along with the Betcast once it gets into plus money. I also did grab the draw. Got plus 333. You can find that at BetMGM, see 330 at FanDuel. This is another draw that I like pregame.
Was Rangers win tonight and then maybe go against them next game? We'll see. But that has to happen first. They have to win first here tonight. Maddie, what do you think here? New York Rangers, Vegas Golden Knights.
Just a first period over here for me pregame. And again, it's small. I want to try and get a better price and add a little to it. So hopefully during the Betcast, we'll have this one on. We'll get a few minutes in, maybe get some plus money and double down on that. I don't hate the full over. It's just I feel like Vegas is sort of up and down in this regard, and New York has obviously been up and down. They've been a little better on the road, obviously getting shut out at home regularly. But it's just one of those things, like I could see this being a 3-2 game, maybe 2-2 overtime. So I don't love the full game yet. We'll see what the pace looks like. If we do have, 5-10 minutes of game time with a lot of chances and no goals, maybe we get this at a 5 or even a 4.5. Then I might be interested. But as far as pregame bets, it'll just be first period over for me.
And don't forget, this is both teams taking a decent road trip to Vegas for this game. Rangers starting a road trip, but Vegas is coming back from St. Louis and Minnesota on the road over the weekend. And 3rd and 4 nights for them. So, like I said, this is not the great scheduling spot, situational spot for Vegas. You would think it would be either. So, like I said, interesting to see how this plays out. As far as props for this game, I keep saying that, Will Cooley with Zibanejad starting to get going, which is big because the Rangers are much better when Mika Zibanejad's doing something. And when he's not and he's struggling, it just really hurts this hockey team. And he's now got a 4-game point streak coming into tonight. Tomas Hertl for Vegas is on a 4-game point streak. On the Vegas side, close shave Barbashev with Braden Bowman. Both of those guys flanking Jack Eichel. And I've been betting them as far as props. Great value. Braden Bowman got his first NHL goal over the weekend. So, liking the value that you're getting with him once again, playing with Jack Eichel for Vegas on that top line. All right, last game of this Tuesday card, Utah, San Jose. Utah minus 135. Road favorites, 6 the total. This is a free play on the website if you want to check it out. Wizard Sports Picks. I wrote this one up. San Jose plus 115. I think that's a just soul-sucking loss for Utah. They haven't been good on the road for a while now. The one concern is San Jose is off the road trip, and sometimes they've had issues in this spot. But it's back-to-back for Utah on the road. Utah doesn't have a good road record. Utah's 2-7 in their last 9 games, and the 2 wins were both against the Buffalo Sabres. So right now, Utah is just they're struggling with confidence. They're Some games they're not scoring enough, but they're defending. And some games they're defending well enough and not scoring. So from that, it's back and forth with them. Offensively, defensively, San Jose's been good at home of late. They've won 4 of their last 5 home games. Utah on a 4-game road losing streak. We've got, obviously, in this matchup, it looks like Yaroslav Askarov will be in net here for the San Jose Sharks in this game. Now, last night, it was Karel Vejmelka in net for the Utah Mammoth against Anaheim, so likely a Vitek Vanacek start for the Utah Mammoth here tonight in this game. So, like I said, it's just like the price here on San Jose, plus 115. And I thought that Seattle game that they lost at the end of that road trip, San Jose, they outshot Seattle. Everything Seattle got as far as a quality chance they scored on. I thought San Jose generated a lot. They carried the play a little bit more often than Seattle did. I thought it was just an unfortunate result. The process was good. The result wasn't. That's what that game was like for San Jose. So, like I said, I like the price here with them, and just tough times right now for Utah. That's a heartbreaker last night. You look like you're going to get that win. Terry ties it with 5 seconds left, and you lose in overtime. That's real tough. A way to lose for the Utah Mammoth. So, yeah, give me San Jose here, plus 115. Alex, what do you think? Utah, San Jose.
Yeah, it's just small plays on the dog and draw split. So I grabbed Sharks plus 115, and I grabbed a little piece of draw plus 340. Back-to-back overtimes for Utah. Like I said, they had a back-to-back spot. San Jose having a couple of days of rest. So this feels like it could be one where maybe the Mammoth have to hang on for dear life, and the Sharks haven't made it easy on themselves with some of these wins. So a little pieces of draw there.
And I will point out with San Jose, they have gone past regulation in 2 of their last 4 at home. And, yeah, I might dabble in that draw too, because Utah's gone to overtime now back-to-back as well. So could be a draw spot. I agree. What do you think here, Maddie? Mammoth, Sharks.
I'm on San Jose here, but I'm going to split it up, not with a draw. I'm going to take San Jose and their team total at over 3. I'm seeing it like plus 100, plus 105. I think, you could take the 3.5 if you feel really good about it. You could take some juice and take it 2.5. I think it's like minus 150. I think taking it at a 3 is, a possible push bet on the off chance we get like a 3-2 overtime win, like we saw last night. So, I do think this is a good spot for San Jose. I think last night's loss for Utah is pretty beating to a team to lose that way, especially, 5 seconds away from winning the game. But, so I think there'll be a little bit of, early push, but I just think, San Jose is due for a good game. They've kind of let off the gas a little bit, so they're going to want to get back to rolling at home. So, they're a team that for a while there I was hammering overs with. That obviously slowed down a little bit, but this might be one that I look at live for a first period or full game over, but pregame, I'm just going to be on San Jose and San Jose team total over 3.
It's funny. They won a bunch of games. They got outshot, San Jose. Then they lost to Minnesota, or they beat Minnesota too, and they got outshot. The one they deserved was Calgary. They got outshot bad. They had nothing in the tank that night. It was only close because of Askarov. The Seattle game, they lose 4-1. It looks bad. They outplayed Seattle. So their process, like I said, was a lot better in the Seattle loss. For San Jose in that game. And Askarov, the stats are ridiculous for him. His last 5 starts, he has a 1.19 goals against average, 965 save percentage. You can't do much better than that. Wow. And Askarov has certainly started to look like the phenom goaltender that the San Jose Sharks thought they were getting in him. So we'll see if he can continue to deliver the goods and give them a chance to win here tonight against the Utah Mammoth. And as far as props here in this game, it looks like tonight, Phil Kurashev with Celebrini and Smith. I'm going to dabble in Kurashev here with those 2 guys. Could almost make a broomstick score playing with those 2 guys. So we'll see if Kurashev can maybe find the back of the net there for the Sharks playing with Mac and Will Smith. All right. Excuse me. Great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. Betcast tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. We can't wait. Looking forward to it. Again, DM or email me or Alex for a spot on the Betcast, and we'll Send you the link before it begins, 7 p.m. Eastern tonight. Very much looking forward to it. Check out wizardsportspicks.com. I'm there, Alex, Matt, great handicappers, a great roster, premium picks, free picks daily. Matt's on a great run. I'm on a good NHL run, college football, NFL combined streak. College basketball's profitable so far, so check it all out, wizardsportspicks.com. And also remember, Beyond the Lines, Matt hosts that daily video series on the Wizard Sports Picks YouTube channel every Tuesday, and I host it Thursdays and Sundays. So make sure you check that out, wizardsportspicks.com and the YouTube channel. And check out patreon.com/iceguys, $10 per month. Again, goalie charts, totals charts, tons of bonus content, an exclusive live betcast coming your way for Patreon members before the end of November. Stay tuned. We'll announce it the day of the betcast. We're just going to drop it on you the day of the betcast. So stay tuned for that. It's coming before the end of November. And of course, daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. $10 per month. Your subscription goes a long way to supporting the show, keeping us going. So $10 per month. Get on board. Patreon.com/iceguys.
Yeah, goalie charts will be updated later today before the betcast tonight. And also check out the Ice Guys store at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. We've got hoodies, we've got caps, we've got winter hats, we've got T-shirts, jackets, you name it. We've got it with many designs. Definitely want to check that out right now. Get something. Holidays are coming close. I just made my flight arrangements to go home for Christmas, so definitely want to get the gifts under the tree. Get them early. Get on board and get on over to the Ice Guys store. It's at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
Yeah, make sure you get your stuff now if you want it before Christmas. Now's the time. So make sure you check out the Ice Guys store. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsor.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
Kings and queens shop.
You thought Solid Fire was gone. You thought wrong. Cannabis, royalcannabisshop.com. 20% off with the promo code Ice Guys. All right, bargain bin special of the night. Looking forward to the betcast, even though we're not feeling our 100%. We're looking forward to it still regardless. Bargain bin special. Alex, what do you like?
We got two of them. Both of them coming from 1901 West Madison, where the Hawks are taking on the Calgary Flames. It's a play we've rocked and rolled with often. Cashed with a couple times this year. We're going to go with it again. Frank Nazar, first goal. You get that 16-1. That's a price that I like. I think he's going to now getting back into the lineup, get there on the score sheet, started off early. But we're also liking Oliver Moore to get on the board as well. You can get his anytime goal scorer plus 500 at FanDuel. So we're rocking with Frank Nazar, first goal for the Hawks. Oliver Moore, anytime goal for the Hawks. So my two bargain specials for this betcast Tuesday night.
There we go. A double dip, twin bill of bargain bin specials for Alex B. Smith. Matty Rob, what do you like for bargain bin special of the night?
So I've got two here tonight as well for the Betcast. One of them, it feels pretty obvious. We're going to go out to that New Jersey game. But I actually have some good reasoning for this one. So we're going to roll with somebody that's, been a big hit for me in the past, Stefan Nason, anytime goal prop. He's getting more minutes with Hughes out. He's slowly starting to get back. He was out for a while for injury, and he's starting to get back to more middle of the pack offensive minutes. He is on PP2, but something I found very interesting, he's played the Tampa Bay Lightning 15 times in his career. He's scored 5 goals, and 4 of those goals have been in his last 5 games. He's scored in 4 of the last 5 appearances against Tampa. Maybe there's something in the water down there. So I'll ride with Stefan Nason anytime goal prop plus 500. And then we'll go out to Big D, a guy making his debut for the season, El Capitano. He's 1 goal away from 400. I know he's going to ease in as far as 5-on-5 minutes, but he should see some power play time with PP2. And given the injuries, I think it'll be sort of a hybrid power play. They might have Rantanen still out there. They may have Miro still out there. We'll see, but it's plus 525. I think it's worth a shot that Jamie Benn gets a goal tonight and gets to 400. So I will roll with Stefan Nason anytime goal and Jamie Benn anytime goal. Plus 500, plus 525. Those will be my bargain bins for tonight.
There you go. Jamie Benn and an old Texas native there, Stefan Nason, for bargain bin specials for Matt. My two, I already mentioned earlier, Emil Heineman, New York Islanders, plus 350. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The other one is going to be, and this is actually, I guess, somewhat of a Dallas Stars connection, so fitting with Matt Robinson on the show on Tuesdays. Jason Robertson's brother, Nick Robertson, plus 380 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Top line with John Tavares and William Nylander, and he did score for Toronto against Chicago in his last game on Saturday night. Nick Robertson for Toronto, plus 380. So Nick Robertson and Emil Heineman for my 2 bargain bin specials for this Tuesday. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Ooh, we got a lot to choose from, and we're going to continue to roll with draw season. But one of my favorite draw bets of the night, as I pull up the list, it's going to be that Columbus and Winnipeg draw, plus 360. That's a great price. We've been seeing tight games, especially with Eric Comrie being the starter net for Winnipeg. I can see this one being kind of a slower back-and-forth battle. So give me the Blue Jackets and Jets draw, best bet, plus 360. That's my best bet tonight.
All right. Columbus, Winnipeg draw for Alex B. Smith with his best bet. Matt Robinson, what do you got for us, best bet?
Yeah, there is quite a bit to choose from, but I think it's my favorite play of the day. We'll go out to Toronto, hosting the St. Louis Blues, the 2 worst defenses in hockey, while the Maple Leafs are still rolling in the top 5 on the offensive side of the puck. Hopefully Nick Robertson scores. He'll contribute to this. I'm going to take the over at 5.5. I think just given how both teams have struggled to keep the puck out of the net, I think, having both teams chip in this one is not too much to ask. So St. Louis, Toronto over 5.5. That'll be my best bet for tonight's Tuesday, November 18th card.
And again, the Leafs 13 of 14 games have gone over the total for them entering tonight. We'll see if that run continues. St. Louis, Toronto over for Matt Robinson with best bet. My best bet here for this Tuesday slate, I'm going to go with, this is old reliable here. We got the Rangers starting a road trip, wanting to start strong, and I know damn sure Vegas wants to stop this bleeding here on home ice. So I expect an aggressive, fast start. Rangers, I went back and looked, more of their games than not on the road of late have gone over in the first period. So I'm going to go with the Rangers Golden Knights first period over for my best bet. So that's New York Rangers, Vegas Golden Knights for over 1.5, minus 120 in the first period for my best bet here for this Tuesday NHL card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Betcast tonight. Can't wait. 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you join us. And again, DM me or email Alex or I for a spot on the Betcast, and we'll send you the link for it when we get it underway. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week. Monday, delayed start. Tuesday, to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. For Alex B. Smith and Matt Robinson, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night, and we'll see you 7 p.m. Eastern in a few hours for the Ice Guys live Betcast, and again for the Daily Show Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Ice Guys.